University and River of Love. South Carolina, and it's gonna be a blessed time. Again, shout out to Apostle for what she has done, allowing to be in her building. We cannot thank her enough. Well, without further ado, I told people this, I got a special guest to my left. She is running for mayor of North Charleston, South Carolina. Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, here.
Yes. Now, Ms. Ashley Peele, we had our previous guest. We have Mr. Pastor Thomas Dixon. We have Mr. John Singletary. Now we're going to have ladies in the building.
That's right. About time.
About time. So, Ms. Ashley Peele, tell us about who you are and why are you running for mayor of North Charleston.
Yeah. I'm a long-time North Charlestonian. I was born in North Charleston. I lived there my whole life. And my experience in North Charleston isn't so dissimilar from a lot of folks. You know, I grew up poor in the trailer park. You know, at one point there were 9 of us in a 2-bedroom trailer. You know, my single mom and her 5 kids. You know, she was working multiple jobs trying to raise us right, or put food on the table. But we got a lot of help from the community as well. You know, Christmas gifts during the holidays, clothes to wear during the school year, and really had to drive to get myself out of those conditions. Push myself through school, finish high school, to be the first in my family to get a high school diploma, and then to go off to college, and be the first in my family to go to college, let alone bring back a college degree. And then I got a good job, and I worked my way up in that company into a leadership role, and now I'm in a unique experience, right, where I have that perspective growing up, like so many in North Charleston. And now I'm in a leadership role and thinking, how can I give back? What are the ways that I can contribute in the areas that I love? And I love North Charleston. I've been there my whole life. I came back after college because I love that city. And I live and work there now. And I wanted to get back to North Charleston. And I recognize that there are too few women representing us at the local level. There are too few minorities. There are too few people with that kind of story. So I wanted to run for representation to offer that voice that's not being heard right now. You know, that you don't have to be rich, that you don't have to be powerful, that you can come from any background, in any shape of life, rich, poor, white, black, young, old, and you can run for office. If you're a steward of your community, you really care deeply about your community, you can run for office.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, being the first of so many accomplishments, that, you know, hats off to you. I know it's a blessing to be the first to do so many things and to elevate. Now, biggest thing we want to figure out, because you know, I've only been in North Charleston right now. Currently, I am going on my 10th plus year here. So I know being in North Charleston, a lot of things that we want to see get done, see get accomplished. One thing in particular is we talk about, one, how can we bridge the gap between the financial money being given out equally. And what I mean by that is, like, when we do the fiscal year, it seems like the people on the top is always getting the big chunk of what we should be getting when it comes to businesses, you know, make sure they be able to function. When you think about how can we better our school system and how can we distribute that money out that everyone gets a piece of that pie. So what would you do differently what you're seeing being done right now here in North Charleston?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about an equitable city. You know, a city where everybody has the same opportunities to be prosperous, to succeed. In North Charleston, we have an ingrained system. You know, we've had our current administration for many, many years. And I think a lot of what you're talking about is symptomatic of that. You know, you know people, you start building those relationships, and suddenly the contracts start going to the people you know, rather than the people that deserve them. And we lack the vision of that equitable city, you know, where we want everybody to succeed. And that's one of the main areas I want to focus on. We need to bring different voices to the table, make sure that everybody has opportunities. When you think about city contracts, you know, who's being awarded contracts for different jobs, a lot of money comes to the city, right? And it can't go just to the guy you like the most. It needs to be spread equally. We need to be thinking about offering opportunities for diverse types of employment at the city level to make sure everybody has a chance. And we can't do that if we don't have the right seats at the table, if we don't have the right vision from the top to say, this is a priority for the city.
Okay, absolutely. Now, I know with North Charleston, we got a huge problem when it comes to the education piece. We're not, I know a mayor's job, I'm not saying is to say, I need you to hire teachers, because that's not their job, but is to sort of bridge the gap. Because sometimes with our current administration, no shade thrown, is that we have 9 failing schools in South Carolina. 8 of them, 8 are in North Charleston, South Carolina. So out of 9 failing schools in the whole state of South Carolina, 8 of them are in North Charleston, but North Charleston is number 1 on the map when it comes to financial profitability. North Charleston is most profitable out of any city in South Carolina, but it's the most failing when it comes to public schools, things across the board. What are some things you would think could be better that we can improve if you were elected mayor?
Sure, well, first off, I'm angry, I don't have children yet, but when I do, I want to send them to public schools. And I went to public schools in North Charleston. Pepperhill Elementary, Birney Middle High School. I don't know how many of you know North Charleston, but I want the school to be better. And it's such a disappointment that North Charleston has so many failing schools when there is no North Charleston School District. It's Charleston County. But when you look at the rest of Charleston County, you have much better performing schools. It's North Charleston. So it's definitely a disappointment. I think about when I have kids, what's their experience going to be like in education? Will they be prepared for jobs when they graduate? Will they be able to enter the workforce? Will they be accepted to colleges and universities? And so it's so important. And like you said, the mayor doesn't hire school teachers, and the Charleston County School Board really sets the vision for what the school programs and the initiatives are going to be. One, I think we're getting good visibility with the education system. I think Post and Courier did a good job exposing some of the issues and putting some of the focus back on those broken promises that have been broken for so long, and hopefully some of that's going to trickle down to the school board. But the city, it's a big city, and we have a big bat to bring to the playground, right? Even though we're not hiring teachers and we don't set the vision for the school board, we're a big part of that. And I think that there's a lot of things that the city can be doing, particularly with children and after school and preschool programs. So like when you think about cradle to career, like taking a young person from birth through the school system and preparing them for good jobs. There are programs that the city can support, both for young school children and as you get older into your high school, middle school students. After school, what are these children doing with their time? How are they continuing their education? Not every child is going to go to college. So what sort of skills are we building for them in high school that they can go off and get a job, that they can enter our workforce and be prepared to do that? Because there are jobs in North Charleston. Sure. We want our children and our young folks to be prepared for those jobs, right? We want North Charlestonians to be getting jobs in North Charleston. And there are some things that we can do at the city level to help with some of those things.
Got you. Now, great question that you mentioned the city level. We know our big players, Boeing. That's one of the biggest multi-billion-dollar companies in North Charleston. We have the Charleston Air Force Base, where our military, it's a big thing. Another thing that we have, Triton Tech, and Triton Tech, even though it's a 2-year, is just as powerful as our 4-year universities. Now, how would you change, I guess, the certain partnerships that we currently have? Because what it seems a lot is that people are coming in, but as you mentioned, a lot of North Charlestonians are not getting that particular job. What are some things you would see differently, or what has changed in how giving us the opportunity to get those jobs?
Yeah, and Mercedes-Benz,
yes.
another big employer. Jobs are booming in North Charleston right now, and it's really sad when you think about, you'll hear the stat that we have like the highest GDP in the state. We're producing a lot of revenue, but we also have a very high poverty rate. So it's kind of indicative of North Charlestonians not getting those high-wage jobs that are coming to the city. And those jobs are only as good as the people that you're hiring to bring in to do them. So if you're hiring from out of state, that's not really helping North Charleston. But I think North Charleston's in a different place than we were, say, 10 years ago or 20 years ago when the Navy base left. It's a really desirable place for companies to bring their business, as we've seen with the Boeing, as we've seen with the Mercedes-Benz. We're winning those deals to bring those companies here. And I think we're in a place where we can set the bar a little bit higher with the expectations from these types of companies. Who we bring into North Charleston, those folks should be as committed to North Charleston as we are. That they should be committed to reinvesting back in the city. They should be committed to addressing some of the problems that are caused by the growth that they're bringing. right? So when you bring 10,000 jobs to North Charleston, what does that do for traffic? What does that do for our school system? You know, and how can we get commitment from these companies to address some of that stuff? And I think we're in a place where we can do that. We can be competitive with who we bring into North Charleston and make sure that we're bringing in partners who are aligned with our vision.
Got it. Amen. Now, in regards to another sort of a daunting question, I-26, 526, just that connector. I don't know for y'all who just put in perspective. I don't know about you, but traveling from I-26 to 526, just going through that particular little circle, little tunnel, certain things that could be within a 10-mile radius can turn into a 40-minute, 50-minute drive. There's things on I-26 from once you get past Rivers Avenue, going that corridor, there's a lot of people that's in that Deer Park community. I was probably looking for what's called like sort of the screens to block off the sound. Now, as much money as North Charleston has, would you consider saying putting something there so that when these cars are flying through, that sound barrier is not impacting people's sleep throughout the days?
Yeah, I would absolutely consider it. I mean, I think about, so I grew up just off of Ashley Phosphate where I-26 runs through. And as a kid, you know, we're not taking the long way. We were running across the interstate, jumping the barrier, you know. Probably a good thing we didn't get ourselves killed, but that's what you're going to find for people who live in those neighborhoods. I mean, the traffic's going to come through. It's going to disrupt a lot of things, not just your sleep. So certainly would support certain things like that. I also think we got to get a little bit creative about how we deal with our traffic. I feel, you know, it feels a little bit like we're building solutions for a problem that existed 5 years ago. So by the time we get the roads built, we'll need more roads. You know, we're not addressing the growth that we're getting, and there are more ways to get around than just your car. And how can we think about other ways to connect the city and make sure people have a way to get to where they're going without sitting in traffic for an hour? I'll tell you, I luckily, thank God, live close to where I work, and I don't have to sit in traffic. But when I leave town on a Friday and have to sit in that traffic, I say, oh man, do people do this every day? I mean, how do they do this? This is, you know, my mom lives in Somerville and I live in North Charleston, so just going there, you know, it's 6 miles and it's, you know, 45 minutes. It's unheard of. But yeah, interstates, big highways coming through, railroads coming through, these things disrupt neighborhoods, these things disrupt connectivity, and would certainly be open to thinking about how do we reconnect the city, how do we avoid some of the noise pollution, some of the issues that are caused by bringing those throughways through.
Amen, amen. And like for y'all who are listening to me right now, I live in North Charleston, so I don't know about y'all, but knowledge is power. You know, for whoever comes into office, becomes the mayor of North Charleston, that affects me. I'm a voting citizen. I got kids who go to public school in North Charleston. I got a daughter who goes downtown, charter. So I've been in the charter, public school, all those type of things. So these things that I'm talking about, I'm not just spitting it off, I'm talking from personal experience. Now, we just got a new chief, Chief Burgess. When it comes to social injustice, North Charleston has had a bad rap for a long time. It still does. You got some great cops, you got some bad ones. How can we bridge the gap between the police department and the community so that we can work together? Because a lot of times, even with the new chief in place and still the current administration, they haven't really sort of bridged the gap and saying like, hey, we see there's a problem, let's fix it. What would you do to fix that so that we can move forward?
Yeah, first off, Reg Burgess, I was very glad that he was appointed chief, and I think he's doing a good job. I mean, Chief Burgess is from the community. I mean, he knows those streets. He knows some of the intricacies of the issues of why crime is happening. But I think you're right. You know, there's still that distrust. And when people talk about public safety, they talk about, you know, they think, you know, let's get rid of crime, get guns off the street. But you also got to think about the folks who have that distrust in the police force. Public safety is also, do I trust my administration? Do I trust that I'm going to be treated equally if I get a traffic ticket or if I'm pulled over as someone else who might live in a you know, a rich neighborhood? So public safety goes a lot of different ways. Unfortunately, it's not an easy thing. It's not that one thing is going to fix all of our issues. It's going to solve all the issues with distrust, and we're going to snap our fingers and crime is going to be gone. I think we're making good starts with Chief Burgess in that position. I wonder, does Chief Burgess have all of the support and all of the tools that he needs? Is he getting that full-on administration support? I think you know, that's something we want to look at. Making sure we're recruiting right and training our police force. You know, the city of Charleston just adopted some diversity training to make sure that, you know, they're up to date when it comes to what are the best practices for you know, treating everybody equally. So there are some things we can be doing at the police force level. I think with the community, we need to continue to bridge those gaps. I mean, Burgess has done a pretty good job of trying to connect with the community and build some of that trust. But it's only going to happen when we're building bridges with the community, and our police force is out there. They're present. You can see them at your, you know, your community events. They're coming to the barbecue. You know, you're able to interact with them. They're no longer this wall of, you know, this is a scary thing, you know, the police force, but they're members of the community too. Yeah. And like you, I know there are good police officers and they're bad. I generally think that most police officers are trying to do good. But we can make sure with some policies, with some training, that they're doing the best they can, and then when we're recruiting, that's a pivotal part of who we're bringing on.
Amen. Amen. Now, final thought. What are some things, if you were mayor, would you want to get done in your first term as mayor?
Yeah, I mean, so the good thing is, I would not have to choose any one priority at the expense of everything else. You know, the city's big enough that you can kind of work on a number of things simultaneously. One of our big issues, I think, is connectivity and how we're managing our growth in connectivity. So you think about bus rapid transit coming through. Well, what does that do for the people who live in those areas? What we don't want to happen is you're in your home, the bus rapid transit comes through, they're building condos next to you, all of a sudden, you haven't done anything to your house, but your property taxes are double the next year. And you're footing a $2,000 bill where last year was $800, and you didn't do anything, you know? So how can we protect some of our community members from the growth that's going to happen while we're still focusing on connecting them? Because not everybody has a car in North Charleston. So how do you get to your job safely if you don't have a car, whether it's public transit or riding a bike or those sorts of things? And connecting ourselves to other areas in the Tri-County so that your commute isn't an hour long when you're just going to Somerville, or that you can get to the peninsula without having to, you know, get on the interstate. So certainly some things, you know, making sure our city's affordable as we're growing, making sure we're connected as we're growing, but most importantly that we have a good team there at the city of North Charleston that represents voices from all over North Charleston. I want to bring a bunch of different people to the table, people with perspectives and experiences like mine, and people with experiences not like mine. Because I think it's important that we're hearing all of those voices, and I think that's one of the big issues right now is people don't feel heard, and they don't feel like the administration is working for them. So we need to make sure that we're bringing folks to the table who haven't historically had a voice in what the city's doing.
Man. Well, I thank you for coming.
Mr. Logan, so good. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Definitely more than happy to come again. Here at the Logan Power Show. I don't know about y'all, but we got a lot of things to be the first. You can be the first female ever. We got the first African American ever in North Charleston. You know, I don't know about you, but I want to have a platform where these people can come and it can happen right here. You can be in a church, you can be in any kind of building, and you can have a serious conversation where it allows you to pause to ask those hard questions. I don't know about anybody else, but we got some things got to fix in the United States of America. And this is what I learned a long time ago. If you say you're a community activist or whatever you are, if you look outside your doors and if you don't know the neighbor that's to the left or the right of you, nobody knows who you are, you can't call yourself global. Forget that. You ain't global. You're just trying to pretend to be somebody. If you're a leader, you got to know what's going on your local level. How's your city? My city's hurting. North Charleston is hurting. We need to change. I'm telling you that I'm not endorsing her. I'm just saying I've interviewed two other candidates, and I'm telling you right now, they are better than the current administration. No shade to Keysummy. I'm just letting you know where my personal perspective, talking about for me. No one can tell me that Cal don't know what I'm talking about. I lived it. I interact with people from public school to charter school to people that recreation to police officers. I tell you, hey, we need some changes. She's speaking truth. Don't get caught up in what you see. Big things on paper looks great, but you forget about the little people. She talks about GDP. That means that we bring in about over $100 million plus North Charleston brings in on an average year. Think about that. One city, 100,000 plus people work here, 55% plus is African American. another, 30% Latino, and it trickles down. But in over 30 years, you've never had an African-American mayor in 30 years. You've never had a female in 30 years. You've never had there's not a lot of diversity. It's the first time we've had an African-American chief in North Charleston. That should register to where you can't be having these firsts. That doesn't sound right. I don't know about y'all, it doesn't sound right that we just get this first thing happening. Why is that? Why is it taking so long? Why can't we say, hey, we're bringing somebody new to the table? It's time for somebody else to take the threshold. Hey, you've been in there too long. I understand it's a good seat, $195,000. I like to make that for a year. The mayor of North Charleston makes the most money as a mayor in the state of South Carolina. Think about it, $195,000.
Wow.
You see why I stay there? I stay there too. Do the math. In 12 years, you'd be a millionaire. That's 2 terms. 2 terms. And you got the power to do a lot of things. So, again, Ms. Ashley Peele, her information is available to you. But tell people your website, all that kind of good stuff so they can contact you.
Yeah, see my platform at ashleypeele.com. My last name is Peele, Peele to Love. I'll tell you, River of Love Church, I felt the love coming to me. River of Love is feeling the love. But ashleypeele.com, you can catch me on Facebook at facebook.com/Peele for Mayor. I mean, you're exactly right. It's time for change. So we got to get out there. These things at the local level, these are impacting us more than what Trump is doing to us. So we got to get involved.
Amen. So hey, this is the time. Time to peel it off. Peel those layers of hate. Bring those layers of love in. Love will conquer all. But I tell you right now, I want you now to love people that's next to you. You can't say you love somebody. You don't love yourself. I love today. So all the time I got, my name is Calvin, the Logan Power Show. Nationwide, worldwide. We love you. We'll see you next week.
Hey everybody, it's me, your host, Calvin Logan with the Logan Power Show. Well, I thank you for just listening into what I got to tell you today. I remember when I did this show, October of 2014, I was thinking inside of myself, television? Who wants to do television? Nobody's gonna listen to me. No one's gonna give me the opportunity. I'm not gonna get no viewers. There's not gonna be no blessings coming forth. It's a waste of time. You know, why would someone want to hear someone talk about a talk show? But then I caught favor. Honestly caught favor. God's been so good to me. Doors opened up. When I mean my doors open up, think about it. The Logan Power Show. We're nationwide, worldwide. But to be the answer that you've been looking for, you got to think about it. In today's society, you got nonsense, drama, left, right, north, south, east, and west. But we come in with a positive influence. We're here to make a difference. We're here to change how you have an outlook on life. Do you know how good it is for someone to give you an opportunity? I know what it's like for me. I've been given opportunities. People have opened their doors for allow us to film. People have allowed us to come into their homes and to give us opportunity to tell us how good we blessed them. How our voice has given them the actual fiber to keep it moving. I walk by faith. I want you to walk by faith. Come on to the show today. Access us at www.theloganpowershow.us. Put your information down. Say, hey, Calvin, I want to come on the show. Hey, we couldn't do without your support. Donate today. Go to the site. Click on the donate button. Your seed, what you give, allows us to keep moving forward. Email us, theloganpowershow@gmail.com. Call us today at 843-697-5545. Hey, we got a whole bunch of different ways to get on the Logan Power Show. Man, we got LinkedIn. Hey, get us right now, the Logan Power Show. Hey, you know what we got? We got YouTube, the Logan Power Show. Hey, we're making a lot of strides across the actual globe. People are watching us. They're paying attention, y'all. Hey, Facebook, the Logan Power Show. We're creating something also. It's called the Logan Power Show Supporters page. It allows people to talk about what's going on in the community. We're not here to be silent. We're here to be that voice. The voice is going to rise up. I believe for social injustice to change. I believe that we need to stand behind our leaders who are making a difference. We can't be quiet no more. Make an impact in your community. You don't got to be the pastor. You don't got to be the community activist. You don't got to be the business owner. You can be at your home. Open your door. Look outside. Tell God, hey, Father, right now, tell me, how can I make a difference? I want you to make a difference. I want you all who are watching me right now to come and get connected with us. Hey, this is me, your host, Calvin the Logan Power Show, nationwide, worldwide. Hey, we love y'all. Appreciate you, family. I'm a 13-year military veteran. I'm a family man. Got a lovely wife, Jamie and Logan. Got 3 beautiful kids who keep me vibrant every day. When I started this show, I was thinking more about my family. Doing a business, you would think about a ministry. You would say, well, God, not now. Not this point in my life. I want to just focus on taking care of your wife, taking care of your kids. But the opportunity came. Start a television show. Make a difference. Get involved in the movies, TV series. Get involved with what you're doing. The Logan Power Show. It's a family environment type of show. We want you, that 5-year-old that likes watching all the cartoons. We're going to speak to you. That person who's 99 years old and say like, hey, you've forgotten about me. I'm speaking to you. And I got everybody in the middle. This is a family show where we're going to enlighten you. We're going to give you what you've been looking for. Man, something I can turn the television on and I can see something that's going to reflect on how things are going on. There's no drama, but it's solutions, real solutions. We're here to make a difference in your home. Check us out, www.theloganpowershow.us. Call us today at 843-697-5545 or email us at theloganpowershow@gmail.com.